Hi, my name's Tomos Thornton. I'm an artist from North Wales. I studied at Coventry University, did fine art, um, and I've doodled ever since. I've doodled all sorts of things over the years and done portraits of older people. Always been interested in animals. Used to sort of race snails and all sorts of things when I was little, and used to love birds as well as a child. So, hence the the creativity behind my creations. I've picked up lots of techniques in working 10 years as an art technician in a school. So I'm a big fan of people watching and just sort of evolution in general. So sort of my works are a little bit like those, the folding paper game that you used to play as a child, where you'd sort of put one part of an animal and then someone would fold it and draw another piece of, another sort of midriff or whatever. So it's just a play on Darwinism and evolution, sort of mutation of animals and humanoid parts mixed, interspersed and interspliced with animals often times. So, and then I just sort of like to sort of fit it all together like a jigsaw and see what happens, and invent new creations and new characters and animals as I go. Also, socio-economically, I would look at the way that the world is at the moment, like Instagram generation and mild criticism and observation of the vanity in the world and all that stuff. So that's why my characters aren't always that pretty, but I quite like to make the unattractive things look sort of polished and pretty. I try not to be too influenced by other artists around me if possible, because I like to keep my inspiration as pure as possible and based around my imagination really. But I like the work of Hieronymus Bosch, Gerald Scarfe, Salvador Dali and Ralph Steadman, for the mark making as well as anything, but mostly the subject matter I like to keep as free as possible, and just sort of no preconceived ideas as to when I sort of start drawing really. I normally just start with an eye, and then the eye will communicate with me what sort of where to go next really with it. And so yeah, often I will, it sort of tells me a story as I go, and it forming organically keeps it sort of a really liberating and sort of enjoyable process, and I don't get hung up in things like, oh, I can't draw this, I can't draw that, because that's just restrictive. I just like to keep it as unrestrictive as possible really. Right now I've just sort of stopped full-time work to focus more on my artwork. I'd like to get more involved in sort of live art or any project, street art, anything like that really, as well as book covers, album covers, any illustration possible really. So by all means get in touch if you're interested. I'd say the biggest challenge being an artist is probably selling your work, especially if you sort of remain true to yourself and don't sell out and make. I mean, my work's not overly commercial in the traditional sense, but it's just sort of finding the niche and the market for things, and sort of going down the right path to find some people who everyone likes it, but not many people want to put that sort of stuff on their wall. It's more for, suitable for illustration of books and albums and things like that. So it's just finding that niche. I wouldn't say I get sort of stuck for ideas as such, but maybe I should sort of, maybe it's worth trying to be slightly more mainstream and catering to the masses a little bit more in order to sort of get things flying off the shelves. But I do, I almost, because I do it for my own self and sort of psychological well-being, I'd like to sort of keep it as meditative a process as possible really, and that sort of makes it be sort of slightly more true to myself, and in that sense more quirky, I suppose. In terms of advice to my younger self, I'd probably say to have maybe got slightly more career focused earlier on. Although I wouldn't change the way I've done things as such, but it's also maybe gone to either live in a city or gone to university in sort of London or further down south, where it was more room for success and more chance of being sort of spotted early doors, really. So yeah, maybe just sort of get my work out there a bit more, exhibit a bit more, and but yeah, always sort of stay true to your own imagination. Paint what you like, draw with it what you like. I mean, we'll see how things go. I've only recently sort of stopped work to sort of try and pursue it a little bit more professionally. So get in touch. Off the back of that, though, I'd say just stay true to yourself. Trust your imagination. Trust your observation. Trust your creativity, and let your hand do the talking. I suppose hopefully, well, if you're anything like me, my hand makes the decisions often for me, or it's sort of a little bit of an out of body experience. It just take the pen on a journey, and often it will win. I wouldn't just advise to not try and copy or be too influenced by other artists or pastiche anyone else. I mean, there is a lot of artists out there at the moment copying other artists or pastiching other artists, sort of a lot of John Bergerman impressionists, as it was, who are obviously making money and making a living out of it. But I find it a little bit impure when you sort of using another person's art and recreating it as your own. It doesn't feel very new or pure or particularly creative or artistic, so I like to just stay as true to myself as possible. As I say, working for 10 years as an art technician gave me lots of inspiration and lots of fresh techniques to try. So I've done lots of different unconventional art, painting with sticks and 10 pens at the same time, throwing ink into the air and to land on a canvas, and painted with syringes, lots and lots of different things. But I do sort of still enjoy the technical side, the way I work normally, but I'm equally sort of happy, playing around with the media really and expressing myself in different ways. Yeah, I find it the most pride-inducing to do sort of the technical side of things. But although you still can get, a lot of benefit and learn a lot from, throwing paint around as it was, or just doing, things in a slightly different way. So I'd say I wasn't exclusively one or the other, but more the technical side of things. I've done quite a few sort of live art events and painting and drawing at sort of pubs and bars and things like that. So I found that the loud, funky music obviously helps me get my groove on a little bit and sort of probably speeds up the process. At home, I would listen to music a bit, but sometimes just listen to the radio or put the TV on, and have keep my hands busy while I'm watching football, doodling, or that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know whether it dictates what you would actually draw, depending on what you listen to. It probably does has a help and assist in the creative process if you haven't already got a preconceived idea of what you're doing in the first place anyway. Yeah, I've had lots of amazing compliments over the years. A lot of people just saying, "Oh, how did you do that?" or "Did you actually draw that?" How did you do that? You get a lot working in the school, obviously, because people are more easily excitable when they're children, so they're like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, I had a nice compliment yesterday. Someone said yesterday, loving your work, loved your work, and everything else that you brought to the occasion. So that was a wonderful compliment, obviously. Showing I don't, bring a bit of my personality to my art, but likewise, the other way around, I suppose. So nice to be, make people laugh, and I suppose I like to do that with my artwork as well. So get a lot of people surprised at how I come to the conclusions I get to, from just using my imagination or not having a preconceived thought of what to do. But you just get experienced and confident in whatever you do, and it just becomes second nature after a while, I suppose. Hopefully people can take inspiration from my artwork in the sense that they don't have to conform. and draw things as they see them, or exactly realistically, or I think that sort of thing. I think you can learn stuff from the way I use tone and light and shadow and shade and things like that, but mostly subject matter wise, it's a very free and liberating process that sort of allows you to splice things together, or very forgiving, and I don't really make mistakes. I can just turn something into something if I feel like it's not perfect. So it's a very much artistic license being used all the time, and just trusting my imagination, and that's very important. It's taken a long time to gain that confidence to be able to pick up a pen and just draw what I want, how I want, without sort of thinking about it or looking at pictures too hard. I've spent my life observing, so but again, that confidence, you don't have to be accurate to be able to be creative, basically, or yeah. So basically, when you're drawing a face, you don't have to make it look exactly like a face, unless or your dog, you can draw like however you want. Just sort of put your own slant to everything, really, and then it makes it individual, and that's important. So yeah, basically, trust your imagination, trust your soul, and trust your hand. So I'm sure it'll make the right decisions for you. Thanks very much for listening. By all means, if you like my work, give me a follow, or even if you don't like my work, give me a follow on Instagram and TikTok, Tomos Thornton. I am on Facebook as well, so Tomos Thornton, spelt the Welsh way. Yeah, give me a share and a like and a follow, and let me know what you think of things. By all means, tell all your friends or your arty friends, but if you see anything that you like or you wanted to show them. So yeah, the more the merrier. And get in touch if if you'd like to commission me or get me to do anything for me, or if you're interested in any of the work that's already on my Instagram page, just give us a shout. Yeah, it'd be lovely to hear from you. Thanks very much. Keep creating and trust your imagination.